Hi everyone and welcome back to the Colour Cave, where we like to play with art stuff. My name is Jem and it is that time of the month where we unpack our Scrawlrbox. It's a little bit late this month and it's been through the wars, but it is still intact and unopened. So we're just going to go to top down view and find out what the UK's only monthly subscription box has in store. Let's get going. Okie dokie, so let's get a look in here. I'm really enjoying this whole job's a good one. I'm expecting all the usual suspects in here, so there will be artwork from a featured artist, hopefully something to draw or create art on, as in a surface of some description. I'm hoping that we still get our suite and our sticker as normal as well. Everything's quite tightly wrapped. Okay, so here is our featured artwork and I'm in love with this already. This is full of character, look at this. Love the colours as well, really good colour choices, and it's a little bit different. So on the back is the featured artist. It is Hatch and is the moniker of London-based artist and illustrator Dave Smith. As per usual, we have links to their social media down below, so if you like what you see here, you can check out some more of their art. And I really like this. This is one that's going to go in my pinboard in the cave. Let's see what else we've got here. We have an A5 layout pad, 20 sheets of 70 GSM, high quality, smooth white bleed-proof paper. This screams markers, which is probably my least favourite. I have to note at the bottom that it is produced exclusively for Scrawlrbox. So Scrawlrbox have obviously developed a relationship with some companies and are getting these things printed in conjunction, so it's a bit of a partnership. And indeed the paper is very smooth, it's not very thick. It's got a sheen on it, it does have a glossy sheen on it, but it's not really shiny. So we shall see how that fares, and there's plenty of sheets which I really like. One of my complaints about Scrawlrbox in general was that they used to be a little bit stingy on the amount of paper that they gave you. We've got 20 sheets to play with here, you cannot ask for more than that. Ooh. So we've got our sticker, which that's actually incredibly cool. This is obviously one of Hatch's designs and they've put it into the sticker. And the last few ones, they've actually taken it directly from the artwork, and I've been trying to match them up, and that looks very similar to this one here, and they've just changed the colours slightly. Yeah. As always as well, we have our list of supplies, which we'll look at in just a minute. We'll do some exploring on our own first. Oh yes. The sweet this month is a Vimto chew bar. I absolutely adore these. They're terrible for your teeth, but they taste so good and they are really chewy. Yes, that is getting munched imminently. So let's see if we're going to get plagued with more pens. Oh, first of all, we have a Faber-Castell dust-free eraser, which it's quite squishy. They talk about dust-free erasers. What that usually means is it's a plastic eraser, which I'm totally okay with. I quite like them and they seem to be quite clean. So it'll be interesting to see how well it actually erases. Standard fare Fineliner. So this is a Molotov black liner, 0.4mm, permanent pigmented water-based indelible ink. So that means once it's dry, it's going to stay put. So there is your 0.4 nib. This is one of the Fineliner brands that I haven't had a lot of experience with, so I'm quite keen to test this out and see how it feels. It does feel like quite a solid piece of kit. It doesn't feel like a cheap Fineliner. I've got a thing about that. So it feels pretty well made and it would feel quite nice in my hand. Obligatory pencil, Lyra Rembrandt Art Design HB, so really bog standard pencil, already sharpened to a point, which is nice. We'll test that out also. And oh yes, my worst enemy, Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers. I have seen these demoed by YouTubers before. I think it was Bailey J I saw using them. If I remember, I'll link her video in the description because I think she went into it in quite a bit of detail. I'm sure it was Bailey J. Basically, you've got 3 different hues in one marker, so you're only getting like teeny tiny markers, but it means you can get a gradient. Yeah, okay, right, let's just get these cracked open. I'm really digging the blue turquoise colour. Okay, so the colour selection we've got matches the inspiring artwork that came in the pack. So we've got an antique pink blend, we have a gold brown blend, and this blue turquoise shades, which are my favourite. I like this one the best. But if you look at the side of these barrels, it actually tells you on it you have a light, a mid and a dark tone, so they're really like spelling it out for you. So let's take a look at the nibs. They are like standard bullet nibs, which again, I'm not particularly excited about these things at all. So this one's actually got 2 in 1, and then the lightest ones here, so that I'm thinking there's not going to be much ink in these, and I'm wondering if they're refillable because I really don't know. I'm looking in here and the barrel stops about there, so that's how much ink this is going to hold. That to me seems a little bit wasteful. Maybe it's just me. I would be interested to hear your thoughts on that. But this seems quite gimmicky, and I feel that way about a lot of markers. I don't know, I'm just not that sure that these type of things are worth it, because alcohol markers are expensive. They do have the colour codes on the barrel as well, but there are no names, it's just these colour codes. So we've got AP2, AP3 and AP4, and that obviously stands for antique pink. And then we have the gold blend, it's gold brown, so it's GB, and the blue turquoise unimaginatively is BT. So we'll test those out in just a minute too. Let's take a look at this list of supplies and see if we can learn anything else. What does the inside of your mind look like? That is something I do not want to think about. If you had to draw your imagination, what sort of place would this be? This month we want you to explore your strange and wonderful mind and then try to create a visual representation of your own imagination, closely examining the creatures, objects and places that might exist within it. Okay, so the Spectrum Noir Tri-Blend markers, a unique 3-in-1 design and blending system. These alcohol markers are equipped with 3 different colour shades that can be seamlessly blended for the perfect gradient finish. I do like a gradient. The pen has 3 separate ink chambers, each with a different colour, which can be transferred through a fine bullet nib and helps produce the controlled blend. The 3 colours inside each section have been carefully developed to produce an effortless gradation and will deliver the same result every time with no trial and error or guesswork. So I'm thinking if they have been carefully developed, that means they're not widely available as refills. These markers use high quality alcohol dye based ink that is designed to give a flawlessly smooth and seamless coverage for all your artistic creations. Recommended retail price is £3.49 each. Not out the way for a marker. You're actually getting 3 different colours, although not very much of them. The black liner, precise nib, well it's a 0.4, I should hope so, otherwise it's not going to be much of a fine liner. Easy to use pen. It is a great addition to your fine liner collection. Well, I don't know about that, we shall see. It's a water-based archival ink, resistant to water and chemicals, so it's an ideal pen to use with multimedia projects. The pen also features a new cap-off function that protects the pen from drying out for up to 180 minutes. That is very precise timing, but that's good to know. And recommended retail price at £1.98. The Art Design pencil, pure cedar wood with an ultra-fine extra resistant graphite lead. The shavings it does create, now we're talking about the razor here, the shavings that it does create stick together for easy disposal. And the paper, let's have a look at the paper. High quality gold line layout pad has 20 sheets of smooth surface textured paper. Smooth surface textured paper, okay. To enable you to produce your best work. 70 GSM, eliminates spread, stops ink bleed and allows the ink to dry quickly to avoid smudges and smears and help keep your work in pristine condition. Recommended retail price, I don't know whether that's a typo, but I think that says £2.20. Surely not. That's cheap for any kind of marker paper. And the Scrawler Challenge is Imaginarium, and they've put underneath, just in case you don't know what that is, in brackets, a place dedicated to imagination. That kind of goes with what they were talking about at the start, so that makes total sense. I will be doing the Scrawler Challenge in a dedicated video this month, and it will be this time next week. We are alternating between the Upcrate and the Scrawler Challenge, so this month it is the Scrawlrbox turn to have its own dedicated video just for the art prompt. So you can look forward to that and see what we're going to do with this stuff. In the meantime, we're going to do a bit of swatching and just see what these items can do. First things first, we have our HB pencil. Feels like an HB pencil, it's going down like an HB pencil. No issues there. Pretty standard fare. Mid-grade pencil, so you can manage a little bit of shading and still have some quite precise lines for construction and sketching, which is ideal. And you can get it quite dark. Again, you're not really going to be layering with this, number one because of the paper and number two because it's an HB pencil. but it's still good to have that versatility, and I think that's why a lot of the time they do include an HB pencil. So we've got this eraser here. I haven't actually tried this one. I've tried a lot of erasers and I kind of stick with the ones I like now. I'm becoming a creature of habit. So we'll give this a little bash on this dark area here. And that is taking away everything nicely. And the dust from the eraser, you know, the shavings that are coming off, they're actually sticking to it, which is kind of nice. It's not creating a lot of mess, and it is, yeah, it is, they're not sticking together now. But yeah, I would say that's like a standard plastic eraser. These are pretty good. I say I quite like them. I have been using the Laufer erasers, and these are also a German brand, and these are made in Germany, and you can see they're a lot prettier than the Faber-Castell one, but this kind of does the same sort of idea with very little residue at all. So yeah, I kind of like these types of erasers, so that's cool. Anyway, I digress. Our Fineliner here. A 0.4 is quite a chunky line for me. I wouldn't normally favour one this thick, but it's got a nice smooth ink flow, does not feel scratchy, and the tip on it, the nib on it, feels quite substantial. You know, I wouldn't feel uncomfortable sort of scrubbing away with it. Not that I would do that anyway, but it feels quite stable. Some of the fine liners, especially cheaper ones, you feel as if you have to kind of watch what you're doing when you're drawing because you think you're going to split the nib, but this is fairly robust. And it's actually quite a nice rich ink as well. If I just sort of fill that in there, it's quite dark for a black. So yeah, I'm all for that. That's pretty good. I think I would use that maybe in a slightly smaller nib width. I would probably get quite a lot of use out of that, but it's something that I may use from time to time. Let's get down to business here. I'm going to start with the blue one because, well, let's look at the colours individually. So this is the lightest one. Oh, that's so nice. Oh, they're squeaky. The paper seems to like the marker, which you would hope would be the case because that's really what we're designed for. And this is the mid-tone. Now, I'll wait till that dries. There doesn't seem to be that much of a difference between the mid-tone and the dark tone. And this whole stacked on top of each other thing, it kind of puts me in mind of the chameleon markers. They're the ones with the tops on them that you can mess about with to make gradients. And I really wasn't overly keen on them. And this whole lids and what direction they're supposed to be put on. See, if you're sitting doing a large piece of, and not even a large piece of art, even like an A4 piece of art, this becomes really fiddly really quickly because you end up with caps everywhere and you're putting the wrong things in the wrong place. The tips on these, okay, this is the antique pink one now. The tips on these I'm not really fussed about either. They do feel really good quality, like they feel quite substantial for a bullet tip, but I'm just not that fussed on a bullet tip. I'd much prefer a brush nib, and the fact that you only have one size of nib is, you know, you're just lacking that choice. And again, the same thing, there isn't a huge, excuse my squeaking, there doesn't seem to be a huge difference between these colours. I mean, these are almost identical, which begs the question, is it really worth it? Could you not have just had two and have, you know, you could omit the mid-tone and blend these two together, because that's kind of what blending's all about. Okay, let's try the gold brown. Now see, there's a much more marked difference between the mid and the dark tone in this gold set, so that's better. That makes me a bit happier. So that is our colour selection again, which ties in, if we just go back to the featured artist's artwork, ta-da! You can see where they've got their colours from. So let's try some gradients then, because I do like a gradient. I'll make sure I'm starting in the right place. So this paper is taking this marker really well for this. You've got enough time to blend it while it's a little bit damp, but you're not, you know, it's not soaking into the paper straight away and you're like frantically fighting to try and blend them together while they're still wet, but they are drying fairly quickly. Now I've given that a fair whack of ink. I haven't been gentle with that, and I can see it sitting on the paper. It is still wet. If I just tilt that slightly, you might be able to see this part here still wet. So that's good for blending purposes because that's giving you time to work, which is exactly what I need, because markers aren't a thing I use very often and I'm not that proficient with them. So having that blending time is really important to someone like me who's not, you know, who doesn't use markers every day and especially is not an illustrative artist. I only kind of use them every now and then for a bit of a jolly. Okay, I'm just going to go over that once more and see what happens. And right, so you can see how many layers I've put down on that now. And if I just flick this over, high quality smooth white bleed proof paper. My test says otherwise, especially if you're providing markers that are meant to blend. Anyway, let's move on and do some gradients with these other ones. I'll go a bit lighter this time, I won't put as many layers down. I'll let that one dry, try and put this back together in some sort of sensible order. They don't actually, that's one thing I've just noticed there. The caps have different colours on them for each end of the marker, but there's no indication on there of which end is which. So unless you become very familiar with the markers very quickly, you're going to end up putting the wrong cap in the wrong end for at least the first little while. All they had to do was put AP4 on that one, or even just 4, and they could put whatever the first one is, 2 on this one. Just again for ease of keeping your workspace clean and tidy, because if you're doing a large picture and you've got lots of these markers about, yeah, you're going to end up in a bit of a fankle. There's a good Scottish word for you. If you're in a fankle, you're muddled up, you know, you're tangled up. I'm a bit more hopeful about this one, but just because there's a bit more of a difference between the mid and the dark tone. Okay, let's just take a wee look over the page here. Okay, so not as much of a disaster on the blending there, which is good to know. So yeah, okay, I will say it's bleed proof paper. To be fair, I did give that like a really good going over, but I did it on purpose obviously to test the paper out. But if you actually look at the gradients, they're really not that impressive. And I'm pretty sure I could do this with 2 markers, and just to prove a point I'm going to try it. I'll do it with the gold brown because they've got quite a good range between them. So I'm going to take the lightest and the darkest one. Okay, so this is with 2 markers, this is with 3. The gradient is more gradual here, but there's not a lot in it really. Again, just for demonstration purposes, I just wanted you guys to see what's actually possible, but what's actually happening as well. For me, I love the colours, and I think they've done a really good job of thinking through what they're trying to do. I do feel that the mid-tones and the darkest tones in these 2 pens are far too close together, and the gradients are so subtle. You can, especially if you're working in a smaller area, you could totally get away with just using two pens and do it yourself. I feel these are a wee bit gimmicky. I'm concerned about the refill situation. I might try and find out some information on that because I just think this seems awfully wasteful, and the barrels are really small. And for me, doing gradients with markers like this, I would tend to do them in larger areas, because if you're working in teeny tiny areas, it's a bit faffy to try and, you know, get a lovely smooth perfect gradient, and I would tend not to bother. Again, that just might be me and the fact that I tend not to be a marker user or an ink user, you know, on a regular basis. I would love to know from you guys, for those of you that do use markers regularly, I would love to hear your thoughts on these. I wouldn't say I don't feel qualified to give an opinion. Obviously everybody's opinion is valid, but it just seems to me that they're a little bit impractical, and I hate to use the word pointless, I think that's too strong a word, but they just seem to be frivolous. There's a word. Goodness me, I'm full of the words today. There was my second blend that I did with the 2 markers as well. That's kind of bled through as well, so the paper's okay as long as you're not gonna hammer it like I did. That's it for the unboxing. As I say, I will do a full Scrawler challenge video next week, and you can stay tuned and keep your eye open for that. March Scrawlrbox. Featured artist, Hatch, lovely piece of artwork. The A5 layout pad. Our 3 Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir markers, one in pinky shades, one in gold brown shades, and the lovely turquoise blues that I kind of liked. We have the Molotov Black Liner 0.4. The Lyra Rembrandt HB pencil, that is really difficult to say. and this Faber-Castell dust-free eraser, which I kind of like a little bit. On top of that, we have the usuals, which is our Scrawlrbox sticker, our list of supplies, which also features our prompt, which is Imaginarium for this month, which I'm really looking forward to doing. The absolutely revered Vimto tuber, which is well worth the effort. That's it, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching to see this unboxing, and I hope you're all safe and well, and we'll see you back in the cave real soon for another video. Have a great day, everyone, and bye for now.